In the quaint, cobblestone town of Glimmershade, where every alley whispered secrets of ancient magic, lived Gerald the Clumsy Wizard. Known among the mystical councils as Gerald of many mishaps, his magical experiments often ended in explosions of lavender smoke and raining toads. This, however, only added to Gerald's charm in the eyes of his peers. One bright morning, Gerald woke up with a particularly ambitious idea bubbling in his mind. Today, he decided he would conjure a spell to make himself the supreme chess player in all of Glimmershade. Just think, he mused, stirring a pot of oddly bubbling brew, no one would ever refuse me a second slice of cake at tea time again. Such grand aspirations often accompanied Gerald's breakfast. His first step was clear. He needed the infamous Book of Plucks and Plunders, rumored to be checked out permanently by Carissa the Cunning at the Grand Library of Arcanum. Off he went, tripping over his robe and narrowly avoiding a rather suspicious shaggy cat. At the library, Gerald was met with Carissa's bemused smile. "I assume you're not here for the knitting manuals?" she teased, watching him narrowly dodge a low-swinging lamp. "Indeed, I require the Book of Plucks and Plunders," declared Gerald, with what he hoped was scholarly gravitas. Carissa nodded gravely and led him deep into the library's dimly lit sections, where books seemed to whisper to one another. "You'll need something from me, of course, to borrow it," she said. Gerald, ever so hopeful, offered a trade, his favorite hat that accidentally and magically changed colors depending on his mood. Carissa agreed, amused and curious. With the book under his arm and a 5-colored hat now sitting atop Carissa's head, Gerald fumbled home, barely managing not to trip over that suspicious cat again. It almost seemed like it was following him. Back at his tower, Gerald pored over the book with an intensity that would frighten a sphinx. Hours ticked by, the only interruption being the cat, yes, it had followed him, meowing for milk. Finally, he found it. The spell of unparalleled chess prowess. It required an odd assortment of ingredients, including 3 dragon scales, 2 feathers from a laughing falcon, and a single hair from a goblin's chin. Luckily, Gerald had all these in his pantry. Spellcasting was never Gerald's strongest suit, and as he chanted, the words tangled like spaghetti. "Chessy prowess, pessy crowness," he muttered, desperately trying to correct himself. There was a colossal bang, and suddenly Gerald's tower was filled with chess pieces. Knights in armor galloped around, rooks moved in straight lines, bumping into walls, and pawns marched mindlessly into the pantry. Desperate to stop the madness, Gerald grabbed the nearest chess piece, a dignified bishop who looked rather annoyed at being seized. "Undo! Reverse! A bait!" Gerald cried, marching in circles. Just like that, with a pop louder than the first, everything vanished. The rooks, knights, bishops, all back into thin air. Well, almost everything. The cat was now chasing a solitary pawn around the room. Sitting amidst the magical chaos of his failed spell, Gerald couldn't help but laugh. He might not have become a chess superstar, but life in Glimmershade was never dull. "Tea, anyone?" he chuckled, right as Carissa walked in, shrouded in her new color-changing hat. The cat, bored with its pawn, started weaving around her legs. "Gerald, what have you done this time?" Carissa sighed, taking a seat at his cluttered table. Gerald just smiled, offering her a cup of tea, slightly discolored from all the magic in the air, and the cat, a new companion, apparently. After all, in the life of Gerald the Clumsy Wizard, every misadventure was just an invitation for tea.